I really want to thank Rick Anthony for inviting me here. It's a great honor to be here in Brazil, and especially I want to thank Rodrigo Sabitani and Gustavo Fritzke Abdallah for their marvelous organization to getting everybody together here. This is my second time in Florianopolis. I was here 20 years ago and attending a major Apple conference with U.S. Agency for International Development. Things have changed here in Florianopolis in 20 years. I'm very pleasantly shocked. Mainly, I'm so happy that your great hospitality is still here in force. Viva Brazil. Okay. Okay. Education. I first taught my first university course in 1963 as a young green person. I can't believe all that time has gone by. But this speech gives me the opportunity to talk a little bit about education per se. Education. Well, let's first define our terms like Voltaire demands of us in any discussion. If we define our terms, then we can argue with each other and come to the conclusions about what the truth might be. Zero waste. Does anybody understand what zero waste means? The Mayans invented the word zero. What does that mean? A lack of something, an emptiness, something that doesn't exist. Waste. Now, waste in English is two things. It can be a verb, it can be a noun. Basura in Portuguese and Espanol is a bit different, but in English, I'm wasting my life by wasting my resources. I feel that. Why waste your life when you don't have to waste your resources? It's critical. The world is suffering, as you know, with an exponential population explosion. How do you deal with doubling of a population every 20 years? What are we going to have to not waste in the next 20 years to give our grandchildren, I have 3 grandchildren, to give our great-grandchildren a halfway decent life in terms of material things? My title is Education in Zero Waste, a New Paradigm for Materialism. We have to think more about what is really important in our lives. First of all, I'm really important to me. My family is very important to me. My sons and my daughter are very important to me. My extended family, my colleagues, I want to help them to preserve the things that they think are good, to help them and myself develop our philosophies towards what really is the ultimate aim of all of us anyhow, to be happy inside and to see our friends, family, the planet happy as well. We are imminently in danger of losing our niche. You know, I'm saving the world. Nobody's saving the world. The world will save itself. What we're really saving when we try to say I'm saving the earth is our niche. Species are going extinct every day in Brazil, in North America, everywhere. So are we if we don't watch our step here with waste. This has to stop. It's because what it really is feeding the enemy. Our collective enemy on this earth is ignorance. Ignorance is the enemy. You stop ignorance through education. When Fidel Castro came into power so many years ago, the first thing that he did is he said, I want universal literacy in the island of Cuba. And he got it. And there are many reasons, complicated of course, but that is one major reason why Cuba has been able to exist all these years. Now, if you are literate, you can read your Constitution. You know what your laws are. We can read the new law. All of us literates. Those who are illiterate are not stupid, they're just illiterate. But we must cram, literally, literacy in this field of zero waste down everybody's throats in a peaceful way, in a persuasional way. We can save our niche, but I'm telling you, if we continue this way on with zero waste, it's stupidity. I don't want to admit that I'm stupid, although I am in many ways. The more I learn, the more I know I don't know anything. Okay, education is the key to solving this problem. Everybody needs to know about it, and everybody has to be able to act on it. One problem we have in San Diego County about zero waste is that our politicians, our elected officials, do not know enough about zero waste. It's not on their agenda. We have to, as citizens, make sure that our elected officials have that on their agenda. We must educate them. Educate them through new information, new data, scientific or whatever, social, religious beliefs, all aimed at stopping this waste. We've got to stop this. We've seen the Pacific Gyres. That's a terrible disgrace. I really don't want to die and still see that mess out there in the Pacific. But then I don't want to see pollution, and I don't want to see poor people either. I've seen my share. Probably the most important thing that we can't waste is people. And when a garbage picker is out there in the dirt and the grime, living 20 years or less at that job, that's a waste which we can prevent through knowledge, through training that person to do a better job, through training the system, develop new techniques to improve ourselves. Well, all I know is I really don't have the solution, but I would like to use the programs of the County of San Diego in education as my minuscule ray of hope as to where some of this might go in terms of the organization of our society towards zero waste. Education. I worked for 16 years overseas, mainly in Latin America, and part of my job, most of my job was agricultural extension, environmental extension. The one thing I learned, as I learned here with you, is that people are always ready. People want information, people want help, people want cooperation. An educational program must have those parameters as its aim in order to reach our goals of zero waste. So the San Diego County program has a very good set of programs for grassroots education. We try to reach the people. For example, we have a hotline. Our hotline reaches about 9,000 people a year with about 10,000 questions that those people will have that we try to answer. That's free. It's paid for by our taxes and our various fees that we charge. We are copying the Toronto, Canada method for reducing organic waste in residences. Our laws in organic management are very difficult to use, so we've gone the next route. We're going to the residences. Toronto, Canada gave a compost box to every single residence in the city within one, and then they gave them workshops to tell them how to use it. Within 1 year, they reduced the organics going to landfill by 20%. They've done much better since then. There are problems with that, so we're emulating that with our limited tax dollars. After 3.5 years of our program to provide residential composting, we've reached 4,500 people in 72 workshops and have sold 2,200 compost bins at subsidized prices. So that's government helping the people. If you want to buy a compost bin, here's 35% off. That works. People buy them. Oh, at that rate, at the rate we're going, in 100 years we will have reached everyone. Primary and secondary school outreach. If you get the kids, like Fidel Castro did, teaching those 4-year-olds how to read, then you have the society. I used to be addicted really badly to cigarettes, and my little kids, 2 boys at that time, they would sit across the table from me. They were little, so their heads would just stick above the table. And they say, I would be smoking a cigarette, and they say, Dad, you're gonna die. Well, that helped me a lot, and I was able to stop smoking cigarettes. One of the major victories of my life, by the way. Okay, if we put the message in the minds of the children, our children, then they're gonna remind us all the time, don't put that bottle in there, that's recyclable. Plus a whole new generation of knowledgeable people, of educated young people, will start acting, even when they're 6, 7, 8 years old, in ways that will benefit society. You know, our responsibility is that we must reach 20% of all high school students in our county annually. Well, I think we have about 60 high schools altogether in schools that we're reaching, and we must have 25 workshops a year. So that's within the context of our budget, which I'll show you later. Higher education. I teach a class at San Diego State University in integrated waste management. It's the 5th time I've done that. I am appalled that there really is not a formal curriculum in integrated waste management or zero waste in any of the universities. Many of our universities in California, such as San Francisco State, San Jose State, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and San Diego State, all do give courses and have a more or less informal curriculum. That needs to be changed. We were very fortunate the other day to visit your dean of the Universidad de Santa Catarinenses, and this man he was our first speaker here. This man was totally receptive. I mean, totally receptive of what we were after, zero waste, and there's the spark. There's the ray of hope. The young people who will soon take over our jobs will have that education in zero waste curriculum and be able to facilitate that. Professional organizations. There are a number of professional organizations throughout the United States who do teach a curriculum, but mainly it's an industrial aimed aspect. Well, the California Resource Recycling Association, CRRA, have been one of the fathers of the zero waste movement, and they do have a curriculum for zero waste, and it's very effective. They just received a large grant for that from the sustainability monies in the United States. That's the private sector. The industry organizations in waste management do have curricula, but none of them have zero waste. They're interested in refining their specific technologies and whatever it is to produce more money. General public, we spend a huge amount of money in our program in general mass media. Mass media is the key. Radio, television, etc. Go for it. Don't be afraid of the press. If a government bureaucrat like myself is afraid of the press, your job is, you might as well quit. You've got to get to the public. That's all there is to it. Finally, a little poem, not much. Your own soul, about education. Smart counts, dumb loses. Greed fails, humbleness prevails. The wise man listens and responds with free and unfettered intellect to achieve his goals. Zero waste is the right way to think and act in our 21st century. Okay, now I have a few minutes left. I have a few minutes left, so I'd like to show you some slides of our programs and real hard data. Here we go. Point this way. Did it move? The middle. Economies based on waste will fail. If you're not for zero waste, how much waste are you for? That kills the anti-zero waste people right there. Oh, I'm for 6% waste. Education is the key to behavioral change. You can't change your behavior unless you know what the alternatives are. Only education gives you that experience in its ultimate degree to develop civilization. Whoops. Okay, here's our budget for the County of San Diego. Our gross budget is $1.3 million this year. Sometimes it goes up to 1.6, depending on how much people are throwing away. Our first thing, we have our hotline. We reach to schools, working brochures. We have 11 brochures. We give out 270,000 brochures every year. But we only spend $90,000 on that. We have a large multifamily recycling program for which Mike is in charge of. We spend $330,000 on that. We only spend $40,000 on residential composting. We have a used oil recycling, $65,000, and then recycling center subsidies. We wish it was more, but we're limited by our budget. Altogether, last year we spent $527,000 out of our $1.3 million budget. So 40%. We spend 40% of our money as a government agency on education and outreach. I think that's a reasonable standard. Okay, the multifamily complex. Does education work? Can you go to a condominium and educate the people to recycle? And after 2 years, this is what we've got for our low-income sub-program in multifamily recycling. This first bar is our baseline. We go to an apartment building, we do a baseline study, we weigh the amount of recyclables in the garbage, And then the object is to set our baseline, and our baseline here is about, excuse me for the English, 30 pounds per unit per month that is thrown away. Then we start giving education. We tell them about recycling. We make the recycling easier. We give signs, brochures. We work out business contracts with the haulers for the apartment buildings, and we're hoping to reach 50% reduction in the multifamily complexes through education. And in the data that we have to date, this is interim, we've been able to achieve a 47% reduction in those low-income multifamily complexes. I think that's pretty good. We are reaching our goals. We should have set our goals higher, but that's the way it goes. Oh, okay, that's it. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate being here for the second time, and I wish you all the best of luck in this wonderful conference that you're holding. Congratulations.